What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and today we're going to be looking at Chinese stocks and the overall outbreak of the coronavirus. So I won't say skeptical. Of course, this is happening. The experts are saying that they're locking down Wuhan is where it broke out. The initial the virus, which is like a flu-like symptoms that goes from person to person. They said it originally came from some kind of animals. You see here on the latest update that 830 confirmed cases and 26 have passed so far, and there was just one stateside already, and there's two more potentially, one in Texas and one in California. I don't know if this is totally overblown or what. This is kind of hard always to gauge this. Is this like SARS in 2003, or is this something like Ebola was going on in Africa, and that took thousands of people over like years. I think it's still going on. It's like, but it's not as well as in the forefront. Like, this is pretty crazy. I saw this. They're literally building a special hospital for the outbreak, because I'm guessing they're gonna think there's more coming, which is kind of scary. Disneyland is closed, so I found this awesome little graph here. I'll put this in the description below. This is it updates. Last time it was 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it shows the confirmed cases and death tolls. So again, this is, some are saying 26, some are 27, 25. Anywho, so you can see that it started in Wuhan, China, which is a ginormous area, and that it spread to other parts of Asia, and then now into Alaska, and, well, basically United States, which I highlighted that. But they said there's a case in Washington State, potentially one in LA, and one as the State University of Texas. But the overall population, which blew my mind, is it's 11 million people, and they're saying that the cities that are affected, potentially they're shutting down 25,000. And if you go back to this article, they're saying, a lot of experts are saying that it was a little bit too late to stop the spread, and they're literally closing down roads, doing barricades. They're doing screening at all the airports, and train stations are closed down, and they're doing checks coming into the U.S. and L.A. and a couple other West Coast airports, to check individuals coming from China to kind of get the outbreak. And the World Health Organization has put it on high alert. I don't know, like, it's to be determined of how serious this is. I think it's definitely serious when you're talking about all the measures that are people taking place. I don't know if people are just being a little cautious or so forth, but I'm trying to see if it's affecting the market. So this is FXI, which is the like a Chinese ETF, and when the news broke, it definitely took it down. You can see here it was at 45, went down all the way to 43, and kind of started going down a little bit, kind of recovered a little bit yesterday. A company that I was looking at too was like Luckin Coffee, which is basically the Chinese Starbucks, and they got hit as well. A lot of the Chinese stocks did get hit pretty right off the bat, gapping down the last 2 or 3 days. Is this a recovery mode? Because this is now going to what I call the reversion to the mean. We don't know. We'll have to kind of play this out. I'm not going to go telling everyone to go short, but this is something to keep an eye on. The other thing I wanted to show is the overall worry, because a lot of people do travel, and during the Chinese New Year, the year of the rat, and a lot of festivals are actually closing around in China. A lot of events in Shanghai and things that are just completely closed down, not even temporarily. They're just like literally closing it down, and canceling events. The overall travel, I won't say there's travel bans yet, but there's, again, we talked about the testing going forth and different things, and a lot of cruise lines also, like Royal Caribbean here, took a hit, but it kind of made a kind of a steep recovery. Did break past the yellow line, which is the 21 the mean to reversion. It did hit it on the weekly nearly to the tick. I think potentially this could have a overall, I wouldn't say completely changing of the sales model for a lot of quarters to come. You kind of see here, Carnival did have a slightly dip, not as much as the Royal Caribbean, which I found out that Norwegian has the least China exposure, NCLH, and it went down the least compared to the other ones. It made a much stronger recovery. But these are something between that and some of the Chinese stocks, definitely keep an eye on. And the overall, like, a lot of people are saying that, talking to individuals that are from China, they said usually add a 0 or sometimes 2 zeros after whatever the Chinese health organization says, because they're the boots on the ground right now, and they kind of maybe not report 100% directly on what's going on. So I'm a little skeptical of these numbers might be higher, or they just these are the actual numbers. It's sometimes hard to get the facts straight on something that's outbreaking and just going affecting so many people and keeping track of everything. This is kind of where it comes into how serious is this. It's definitely serious to the extent of, if you're seeing people build a hospital for these individuals, like the overall reports are just coming through, and it takes such X amount of time of like 10 to 14 days for the virus to actually make some effect of the symptoms. But so looking at these cruise line stocks is something that I'm going to be keeping a pretty close eye on, because those are usually the first ones that get hit. And of course, airline companies, anything with travel, because their numbers are going to come down, because this is going to have at least a 1 or 2 month effect. And if you've seen in the research with SARS and anything else, these kind of came back pretty fast after the epidemic. So I'm not saying to short these, but if these come down quite a bit, this would be a great buying opportunity. Like, this is something I would like to buy into once it kind of settles and everything gets in the clear, which could be 2 or 3 months once we get the word of everything is the all clear, coronavirus is no longer around, and we have a cure, and XYZ. That would be a great time to dive into some of these travel stocks, because it's just going to be a huge impact on a lot of people's fears of wanting to go out. A lot of cities are on lockdown. Like I said, nearly 20 million people are locked down in the cities, and they're shutting down transportation routes. They're shutting all these things down to kind of contain the virus. But that being said, that's definitely going to put a damper on the overall economy, on spend, travel, and goods. So this is kind of what I'm kind of waiting on to see how the ball drops, and then we'll just play from that side. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.